sleeping in a room with a few hundred other people on a bunk bed holding on to all your shit, it's like, you don't forget that. I remember what the shelter smelled like.
What comes to mind when you hear the word home?
Scarce. I think, growing up homeless, like living in those 4 shelters, I constantly think about having a place to live like all the time, which is part of the reason why even when I bought my house back out this way in Chicagoland, I keep my apartment in Oakland just because you never know. Home is wherever I feel comfortable putting my head at, so I can make almost any place home.
When you say scarce, like I think about like, so you say you grew up in Maywood?
Bruh, I was born out in Maywood, lived in a few different places. I was actually technically born in Bellwood, but lived in Maywood.
Gotcha,
Bellwood's right there. For the folks that's not from Chicago, it's a west side suburb. And then I would go back and forth between here and Paducah, Kentucky, where my grandmother lived. Then once she was like, that's who I like grew up with, when my parents was kind of, trying to get their shit figured out. And once she passed away, when I was about 9 or 10, that's when I went to Oakland. And I've been in Oakland since. So that's why when people say, where are you from? It's a long ass story to give.
Complicated.
So I'm from North Oakland. You know what I'm saying? Like that's, you see my teeth, the way I speak, like, I was born in Chicago and I love Chicago and I'm here, but I would feel like a fraud being like, oh, I'm from the west side of Chicago. Like I know North Oakland really well though.
You were having that conversation with my son. My son is, I grew up in Indianapolis, and we moved to this area when he was 8.
Okay.
And so there's always this weird thing is like, he's like, am I from Indianapolis or am I from here? like it's like, pick one. It don't matter.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it don't, but it do.
It do. It's been like who you talking to, it definitely matters.
So here's how I look at it.
Yeah.
My goals has always been to make a positive impact in the places that I'm from. And I consider that to be Oakland, Chicago, and Paducah, Kentucky. So I've built something in Oakland where we gave out $100,000 directly to people there. I've done work with Chicago people and building something here. And once I hit that Paducah, Kentucky spot, like where my grandmother was, and I only lived there till I was 10, but so much of who I am came from that place.
Right.
I feel a kinship to all 3 of those places, and I feel a responsibility to all 3 of those places. So if somebody does try to pull my card, I like to be able to answer, well, this is what I've done for those places. It's actually a lot of people's story. I mean, even if you look at the Black Panthers like connection, right? Like,
right.
So, they had a strong connection with, Chairman Fred Hampton is from Maywood, same neighborhood. And so, but like they had that strong kinship with Oakland and what Huey was doing and just that relationship. So there's the reason that a lot of people migrated from here to the West Coast is because of the port jobs that opened up. So even if you listen to like Kendrick Lamar albums, he talk about his dad, his grandpops is from here, and then they moved out to the West Coast. So it's a lot of folks. My uncle was in Vietnam, was in the service. He's from here, but ended up building a life in the Bay Area.
I never really thought about that, honestly. Like the amount of Chicago to Oakland transplant.
We got a whole bunch of migrant patterns of and so even if you go even further, a lot of people, especially from the West Side, are from Louisiana. So like my grandmother's Creole. So it was a lot of people from Louisiana came up to the West Side of Chicago into those suburbs. And then you got that California piece. So, our migrant patterns are very interesting.
You could track it. Yeah, that's wild. Yeah, man, I appreciate you giving me some perspective on that.
My goals has always been to make a positive impact in the places that I'm from. So if somebody does try to pull my card, I like to be able to answer, well, this is what I've done for those places. Because that's the other thing. Somebody can tell you ain't from somewhere. It's like, well, what did you do for the people?
Yeah, what you pour in, definitely. Because that's the narrative around that place is the people and what they put into it. So I hear you.
The better question is, are you okay with failing? Are you okay with losing? If you can answer those things as yes, then I would say run like hell. Start running right now. Stop waiting for folks.